Why is Aristotle called the teacher of humanity? Aristotle was born in the city of Stagira in northern Greece in 384 BC. His father, Nicomachus, was a physician at the court of King Amyntas II of Macedonia, which influenced Aristotle's scientific and intellectual background. At the age of 17, Aristotle moved to Athens to continue his studies at Plato's academy, where he studied under Plato himself. Despite being Plato's student, Aristotle disagreed with his teacher on many philosophical issues, which led him to develop his own philosophy. After Plato's death in 347 BC, Aristotle left the academy and traveled to Asia Minor, where he worked as a tutor and advisor to King Philip II of Macedonia, the father of Alexander the Great. After some time, Aristotle returned to Athens and founded his own school, the Lyceum, where he began to teach and conduct research. There, he worked on organizing numerous works aimed at exploring the nature of the world, developing logic, and understanding humans and society. Aristotle was known for his philosophical methods, which were directed toward reality and direct observation of the world. Unlike Plato, who believed that truth existed in the ideal, invisible world of forms, Aristotle believed that truth could be derived from studying the natural world and human reason. He adopted an empirical approach based on observation and provided logical inferences to understand the universe. One of the key aspects of Aristotle's philosophy was his development of logic, where he created the syllogistic chain through concepts such as premises and conclusions, which became the foundation of many sciences and philosophies. He also developed the concept of causality, believing that every event has a cause, which can be divided into four types: material cause, formal cause, efficient cause, and final cause. Aristotle was the first to establish the study of living organisms in a systematic way. He studied and classified many animals and plants, writing numerous works about the characteristics of living beings and the reasons for their differences. In his book, History of Animals, Aristotle laid the groundwork for understanding the evolution of life on Earth, which later became the foundation for modern biology. In physics, he provided the basics for understanding the motion of objects. He believed that every object had its own nature that determined its movement, and introduced the concepts of natural motion and violent motion. Aristotle also played a significant role in laying the initial foundations for understanding the natural forces that affect objects. In astronomy, Aristotle provided an explanation of the natural world through central models. He believed that the Earth was the center of the universe and that celestial bodies moved in concentric circles around the Earth. Although this idea was later proven incorrect, Aristotle was the first to attempt a logical explanation of astronomical phenomena. In psychology, Aristotle had a major influence on the study of the mind and behavior. In his writings, he explored the differences between human and animal minds, considering the mind as the faculty that gives humans the ability to think and analyze. He also explored many psychological concepts such as memory and emotions, emphasizing that the mind could develop and acquire virtues through education and training. Aristotle made significant contributions to political philosophy, particularly through his famous work, Politics, in which he studied different political systems. In this work, Aristotle classified political systems into three types: monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy, discussing the merits and drawbacks of each type. He proposed that the best form of government was a mixed constitution, which combined elements of these systems to avoid the corruption of power. Aristotle believed that the state was not just a gathering of individuals, but a natural entity aimed at achieving collective happiness. His vision centered on the importance of educating citizens and developing moral virtues to ensure a stable and just political life. Therefore, his influence on the development of modern political systems is evident, with Aristotle's ideas serving as a reference in many constitutions and legal systems worldwide. One of Aristotle's greatest contributions to humanity was establishing logic as an independent science. He was the first to organize the study of logical thinking and systematically develop its rules. Aristotle's logic is primarily based on syllogism, or reasoning through which arguments are formed. In this context, Aristotle introduced the concept of formal syllogism, consisting of a set of premises that lead to a logical conclusion. This laid the foundation for what is known as the syllogistic chain in philosophy and science. The formal syllogism consists of three main parts. 1. Major premise, a general statement that can be universally true. 2. Minor premise, a statement that applies to a specific case or subset. 3. Conclusion, the result of logically connecting the major and minor premises to reach a conclusion. This Aristotelian system of logic became the foundation for subsequent philosophical and scientific thought. Thanks to Aristotle, logic became the cornerstone of all intellectual studies relying on reason and organized thinking. Aristotelian logic influenced Christian philosophers like Thomas Aquinas, as well as thinkers in the Islamic world such as Al-Farabi and Al-Ghazali. It played a crucial role in the development of Western thought, especially during the modern era, continuing its influence on philosophical and scientific methods of thinking. In ethics, Aristotle believed that the ultimate goal in human life was to achieve happiness or well-being, but not in the sense of fleeting or material pleasure, rather as a life that fulfills the human's natural excellence through a balance between intellectual and practical virtues. His ethical philosophy, known as the virtue theory, is the foundation for understanding ethics in many subsequent philosophies. Aristotle saw happiness as the goal of human life, but it could only be achieved through virtue. He believed that virtue is an acquired trait shaped by habit and training, and it is the path to true happiness. Aristotle introduced the golden mean, a concept that refers to the balance between excess and deficiency. Virtue, for example, lies in courage, balancing between recklessness and fear. Aristotle's virtue theory focuses on improving individual character rather than following fixed ethical rules or principles. He believed that people should strive to become individuals with integrated personalities who aim for the good and act in accordance with virtue. Thus, cultivating virtues was a key part of his ethical teachings. This theory influenced later philosophies, as it is not just an ethical rule but a guide to human education, where the individual should constantly work on developing themselves and their virtues. Although Aristotle is not as well known for developing mathematics in the way Pythagoras or Euclid is credited, he had a profound impact on how we understand mathematics and its relationship to reality. Aristotle was deeply concerned with the concepts of quantity and number, and how mathematics could be used to understand the natural world. He believed that mathematics was the language used to explain the natural world, and that numbers and geometric shapes represented truth in the world of forms and natural phenomena. While Aristotle was not a mathematician in the strict sense, his view of numbers and geometric shapes as a way to understand nature helped strengthen the idea that mathematics is a fundamental part of the natural sciences. During the Renaissance, the revival of Aristotelian philosophy was part of a movement to return to classical sources, with thinkers like Leonardo da Vinci and Niccolò Machiavelli drawing inspiration from Aristotle's ideas in politics and science. His works were also a major source of philosophical thought in Europe during this period. Aristotle's ideas continue to influence philosophy and science in the modern era. Although some of his theories have been surpassed by new scientific discoveries, his intellectual legacy remains alive in many fields. Through the evolution of modern philosophy, concepts like logic, ethics, and physics, which Aristotle laid the foundations for, have shaped reviews and new developments. Aristotle's impact on the development of modern logic was through his introduction of the foundations of reasoning, which were reviewed and improved in the 19th and 20th centuries by philosophers such as Carnap and Freya. His ideas on causes and motion also played a role in the development of science, particularly in the field of physics. Aristotle is not just an ancient philosopher, he is an intellectual and scientific founder who changed the course of human history. His ideas and methods still form the foundations upon which science and philosophy rely today. Through his work in logic, ethical philosophy, natural sciences, and psychology, Aristotle proved to be the teacher of humanity, providing humanity with intellectual and scientific tools that helped lay the groundwork for modern Western civilization. Through his deep understanding of human nature and the material world, Aristotle established concepts that continue to be cornerstones in many areas of human thought and action. What do you think? Does Aristotle deserve to be called the teacher of humanity? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in more stories.